DHS supervisor and her daughter are facing federal charges today after investigators say they stole the personal information of hundreds of SNAP recipients to use their EBT cards.
Alex Torres-Perez goes over what you should do if you think you might have been a victim. All new at 5. Alex?
Well, Shannon and Mike, investigators say the DHS supervisor and her daughter would target the homeless, people in jail, and even kids. But hundreds of other SNAP recipients could have also been affected.
A year-long investigation resulting in the arrest of a DHS principal clerk, Nadine Jean-Baptiste. She is accused of using her position to access SNAP recipients' personal information, to check EBT card balances, and change the pins in order to use the cards in stores across Rhode Island. Records show her daughter, Octavia Baptiste, was doing the same. Investigators say both women used hundreds of EBT cards valued at $191,000. The Rhode Island Department of Human Services could not comment on the investigation because it is a personnel matter, but a spokesperson did tell 12 News DHS and its partners are committed to safeguarding these benefits for Rhode Islanders and work vigilantly to do so. The agency recommends you change your PIN frequently and check your account balance often, just as a safety precaution. DHS warns people to not share their PIN and reminds SNAP recipients that the agency will never ask for your PIN or EBT number. If you believe you may have been impacted by the SNAP benefit fraud scheme, you should fill out a fraud allegation form with the DOA's Office of Internal Audit, Fraud Detection and Prevention Unit. But if your EBT card is physically stolen, you should contact police first.
And in the last half hour, we learned U.S. Marshals did take Octavia Baptiste into custody. Both suspects appeared in federal court and are out on bond. They could face up to 20 years in prison if convicted.
Their cash and food benefits have been stolen, often checking their balance to find it all gone.
That was the case for one local mother who is hoping to bring awareness to the scam and advocate for more guidance in these situations. 23 ABC's Vanya Patino spoke with the mother and breaks down what is being done about the situation. Vanya.
Well, the Kern County Department of Human Services has seen an increase in reported electronic theft. This, as they say, is most commonly happening by skimming, which is when a device is placed on top of an ATM card slot or payment card slot and used to retrieve the information from that card. Others are being tricked by people pretending to call from the department. But a red flag to look out for is if they ask for a PIN number or other personal information. And as this keeps happening, those who rely on this money are having to deal with the fallout.
So when I noticed that it was missing, I kind of went into panic mode. I didn't know what to do, who to call, and again, not being from this area, I kind of felt hopeless and helpless.
Just a day before her rent was due, Maya Subia woke up to an alert that more than $500 that she was relying on to pay rent had been fraudulently withdrawn.
I think I'm going to have this money tomorrow. We're telling our landlords, we're telling bill companies, we are planning for this, and that's all I ask is just for the courtesy to allow us the opportunity to plan for the situation and to properly communicate to our landlords or to whomever we're using this money for that, hey, this might be a possibility.
Subia says she tried reaching out to the county department and the sheriffs with no luck. She wishes there was more awareness and guidance on what to do if this happens. And according to the county, the first thing you want to do is call their office at 877-410-8812 or at 661-631-6000. You can also call the EBT customer service call center at 877-328-9677.
We will take a report. We will help them complete a claim to get those benefits replaced as soon as possible. That will also immediately deactivate the compromised card, and then we'll issue a replacement card. So as soon as the claim is started, we do have 10 days to go ahead and do a replacement of those benefits once the claim is started and is completed.
Now, they don't have a way to know exactly how this is happening, but says the best way to avoid having your information stolen online is just check the balance through the state website. For example, some of the victims, including Subia, use an app to check their balance. 23 ABC did reach out to the makers of the app called Provider, and in a statement they said in part, Quote, our app does not have access to EBT funds. We do not save user-entered EBT payment information like card number or PIN to our systems, and we play no role in the actual EBT transaction. People are rightfully concerned when their EBT benefits go missing, but it isn't possible for the provider's app to facilitate fraud, even if an EBT cardholder's phone with our app on it was stolen. There wouldn't be a way to actually spend EBT benefits through it, end quote. Meanwhile, Maya Subia says she just wants to let others know about what is happening, in which there is more awareness and guidance before so many became victims.
And I just want to say to whomever is doing this, shame on you, because you are taking from families, and that's not okay.
First, the unemployed. Now we're discovering identity thieves have a new target.
And it's families with young children who are really struggling to put food on the table right now. CBS 2 investigator Dorothy Tucker here with us now with more on the problems that these needy families are facing right now.
And it's a big problem. Adrina, after stealing billions of dollars from jobless Americans waiting for unemployment benefits, we've discovered hackers are now preying on people who rely on a federal food program called SNAP, people who use link cards.
We're hearing more and more reports of large-scale fraud that's being perpetrated on poor households who are having their benefits stolen before they ever get a chance to use them to purchase their groceries.
At that moment, I just knew that I wasn't going to have money for groceries for this entire month.
Now, that young mother is talking about the moment she tried to use her link card and all of her money was gone.
That's just devastating.
Especially with the prices of food right now.
Yes.
I mean, there's no second option if you can't use your card at that point.
So, Dorothy, where was she when she discovered that, and exactly how much did she lose?
It was almost the worst moment because she was at Costco. She had a cart full of food. She's at the checkout. She swipes the link card, nothing. And so she says to the guy, try it again. Tried it again and again, nothing. She had more than $800 on that card that had been stolen.
Scammers stealing food stamps from people who need it the most.
NBC6's Sofia Hernandez joins us live in the studio this afternoon and bringing us all a look at the ongoing problem, Sofia, and the limited solutions available.
Yeah, that's right. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, in 2023, Florida reported 356 claims regarding stolen SNAP benefits. Nationally, more than 59,000 homes have been impacted, amounting to more than $30 million in lost benefits. And the problem is ongoing right in our own backyard. This is Judith Quintana. She's thanking God for this help, her food assistance, her SNAP benefits card. But on the 6th of April, when she went to use it, she found that her account of $200 was gone when she only spent $20. I bought a few things and it didn't go through, and I tried the card and they said it was no good. She realized she had been the victim of fraud, and this kind of con is happening more often. Just last week in Broward County at Marshall's food store, the sheriff's office is saying there was a case of food stamp fraud, something this office hears time and time again.
Some of them, they go to one of the stores, probably Walmart, whatever, and they pass the card, and when they pass, they say, you don't have enough funds in that, and they say, well, but I didn't use it. And then they come to us, and then we detect that that card was used in Texas, was used in any places in the United States. But the card is physically right here.
Gonzalez's office is a community partner of the Department of Children and Families, providing a range of assistance to families in need. The majority of clients coming for SNAP benefits. Gonzalez says that his office sees about 100 a day. That's about 500 in a week, 2,000 in a month. In regard to fraud cases specifically, he's already helped 10 clients this year, an increase compared to this time last year, and he expects more are out there.
Do you think because of that maybe there's an underreporting of the amount of fraud cases?
I believe that, yes.
The process to regain the funds takes time, and for those who don't know when their next meal may come, waiting may be difficult.
The process could take probably between 1 to 2 weeks that the funds come back to the person again. But in the meantime, those people, remember, that apply because they need it.
Gonzalez believes that DCF is working behind the scenes to crack down on these kinds of cases. In the meantime, his office is at the ready to help those like Quintana, who was able to get her funds back.
Thank you, Lord. Big food stamp bust. The Attorney General announces charges for a group accused of spending millions in Metro Detroit by using fraudulent EBT cards. Thank you for joining us this noon. I'm Rhonda Walker, and Attorney General Dana Nessel says that these charges just scratch the surface of this scheme and just how vast it is. Pamela Osborne is following the story for us with new information on how this all worked. Pamela.
Rhonda, this was quite sophisticated. 8,000 EBT cardholders had their information and money from their accounts taken. That money was spent here to fund purchases at Sam's Club stores all across southeastern Michigan. In all, investigators say this ring was responsible for making $4 million in fraudulent purchases. The unusual activity was first reported to state officials last year. The AG's newly formed force team, which is in partnership with Michigan State Police, investigated. 3 people were arrested and arraigned on federal charges last week. And here's what AG Dana Nessel is saying about the reach of this enterprise and how they profited.
What happens in Michigan doesn't tend to stay in Michigan. And what we see more often than not in these types of cases is that you will have oftentimes victims over multiple states, but also that the merchandise travels.
And so the majority of those 8,000 people who had money taken from their EBT accounts, they actually are residents of California. There were some residents here in the state of Michigan and other states as well. And again, investigators are saying this is still an ongoing investigation. They fully anticipate that more people will face these federal charges down the road as this investigation continues.
Food benefits for hungry families in need just disappearing.
It is a story that the CBS 2 investigators have been tracking for months. CBS 2's Suzanne Lemignot joins us live from our newsroom. And Suzanne, you uncovered one business linked to the fraud yesterday, and now another.
This one, a mini mart in Humboldt Park, is the latest location where charges were made, leaving a single mother of 3 with just 53 cents in her account.
It's just unbelievable.
Maricruz Coronel speaks about learning there were no funds on her Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, benefits link card. She was in the checkout line.
The person told me, oh, your card is being declined with no funds.
Coronel logged on to the link app. 2 back-to-back charges had taken place at Nadia Food Mart at 3641 West Augusta on December 12th.
From a store that I have never been around or I have never even heard about.
One charge, $980.71. Another, $926.81. The total, nearly $2,000. It's not clear how the money was taken. It's also not known if the food mart is connected.
I wanted to cry. I felt embarrassed in front of the register.
This is the address that was on her statement. When we got here, this is what we found. The store has been closed. Neighbors tell us for the past 3 months, and there's a padlock on it, just like the store that was linked to fraudulent transactions that I did a story about yesterday. Look at this. It's been closed, padlocked here. State Representative Sonia Harper.
I'm currently in the drafting phase of drafting legislation that will track this type of fraud.
Coronel and 2 victims we interviewed yesterday had blue cards when their funds were taken. There are newer gray cards that are supposed to be less susceptible to fraud. There's also a new feature allowing link card holders to freeze and unfreeze their cards after every transaction. Coronel hopes something is done to end this fraud soon. She's the sole provider for her entire family, including her father, Armando. He was brutally beaten in the head and robbed 3 years ago. He's now disabled and relies on a walker.
I counted with that money for food and maybe having less Christmas presents that my kids will like to have underneath the tree.
Chicago police are telling us there is an open investigation into all of these incidents.